For the last year, I have been in a bit of a flop era when it comes to my Instagram content. But the truth is, I really love creating content and I really love creating content on Instagram. So I want to change that this summer. So I thought it would be really fun to sit down with you guys today and share what I'm doing now at the start of the summer to help plan and strategize and analyze all of my content data and what I'm planning to do over the next few weeks and months to reboot my Instagram engagement, have a little bit more fun with my content, and maybe even see some new growth in my audience over there. So if you are feeling similar feelings about Instagram and you are tired of pretending that you don't care about your Instagram content and you really do actually enjoy creating content over there and want to get back to it, then keep watching because I'm going to share everything that I am planning to do this summer and maybe we can exit our Instagram flop eras together. Got my content creator hat on today because we are officially entering our content creator era, our content creator season. I know that there is a lot of mixed feelings about social media in the small business and artist business space. And I know that you do not have to be a content creator to post about your art on Instagram or show up and share about your business on Instagram. You do not need to want to be a full-time creator or an influencer. But I also think that there are a lot of people who say that they didn't get into this to be a full-time creator, who also don't want to admit to themselves that they really do enjoy creating content and actually do want their content to do well. Honestly, that's how I felt for the last year. A little bit of a backstory. If you guys were following me last year, you will know that last summer I went through probably one of the worst periods of creative block that I have ever went through, and it really knocked my confidence with all of my creativity, but especially when it comes to showing up on Instagram. I just kind of felt like I didn't know how to fit into that space anymore, how to show up in that space anymore. And I was really enjoying creating for YouTube and struggling to figure out how to translate the kind of style and voice that I had found here on YouTube over to Instagram. I had grown that space in a really different time on social media, and I felt like a lot of my audience were used to a certain kind of content. Basically, I felt really boxed in over there, and I kind of had like a bunch of rules that I had created for myself about what I could or couldn't post over there because I was really worried about doing something different and then losing a bunch of followers. By not doing what I wanted to do, I just wasn't enjoying creating content there, and then eventually I just kind of stopped posting on Instagram. I was so afraid to not post something different that I just didn't post anything at all. The truth is, I really love creating content, and the honest truth is I really love creating video content as well. I have dreamed of working with brands for my content and my art for years. So this summer I am not pretending that I don't care about creating content anymore. I am fully stepping into my content creator era, and as part of that I am going on a little bit of an Instagram reboot or resetting my Instagram engagement. So I really start to shift into creating the content that I want to create, and as a consequence kind of probably gonna see a little bit of a dip in my followers as I make that shift. But I am hoping that over the next couple of weeks and months, the things that I do, if I do them with intention, are going to help reset my Instagram content so that I can enjoy creating what I create and reconnect or connect with the people who are actually going to enjoy that as well. So I'm going to share what I'm doing now and what I plan to do over the summer with you guys in this video. And then I was thinking in a couple of weeks, I could do a little check-in video to share with you guys what is working, what I'm changing, and we can kind of go through this process together. So let's head on over to Notion so I can show you guys what I've done and what I have planned and kind of how I figured out that plan in the first place. First things first, before I did any type of content planning, I decided to get really strategic about my current social media, specifically Instagram for me, but my current social media analytics. I have never really been someone who obsesses over analytics too much until I started creating content for YouTube. YouTube really changed how I look at data and analytics of my own content. I decided to apply a similar strategy to what I did last year when I decided to come back to YouTube and get really analytic and strategic about it first before I got super creative. Strategically figure out how to get the algorithm to feed my content to the right people. And we do that by analyzing our analytics and looking at the keywords that we're using and trying to teach the algorithm who we are and who to serve our content to. A lot of people think that the Instagram algorithm hates small business owners and artists, but I honestly don't believe that's the truth. I feel like once you teach the algorithm who you are and you get that engagement momentum, it is still possible to grow and reach new people continuously on Instagram, but you have to kind of step back and be a little bit strategic before you go like a gung-ho and just like throwing a bunch of content at your Instagram account and seeing what will stick. So the first thing that I actually did was took screenshots of all of my analytics. I went into my main profile and I went to my professional dashboard. I went in and took screenshots of all of my general analytics, and I looked at both the past 30 days as well as the past 90 days. The next thing that I did was I actually looked at the content analytics. So I tapped on the section of your analytics where it actually shows you like a profile feed of your own content basically, and it ranks it based on certain analytics. Again, I filtered by 30 days and then 90 days. And then I also filtered first of all by posts and then by reels. I looked at which content was getting the most views and also the content that was getting the most reach and engagement. So I looked at all of that data and I took screen grabs, and the next thing that I did was I fed those screen grabs to ChatGPT because I am not an SEO expert, but I am a little bit of an SEO nerd at this point. Definitely become really interested in content analytics and SEO since I came back to YouTube last year. ChatGPT really helps me understand things that I don't always see at first glance. So I fed all of those screen grabs into ChatGPT, and I also told it that I wanted to do an audit of my Instagram account. So rather than just giving it screen grabs of my analytics without context, I actually did tell ChatGPT first why I was doing this. I wanted to audit my Instagram account, that I was planning over the summer to shift my content and reboot my engagement, that I wanted to go into a phase of my content where what I'm creating is focused on visibility, i.e. helping my content get seen by more or new people, and connection, kind of content that is going to encourage people to have conversations with me, allow me to reconnect with my creative community, and also allow me to connect with my kind of newer type of ideal audience, because as the type of content I want to create is shifting, so does my kind of ideal viewer or my ideal audience member. I told ChatGPT all of that. I gave ChatGPT the analytics, and then we kind of looked at everything together. So ChatGPT is really great at looking at what you've already created and telling you what's working and what's not. You can also ask ChatGPT specifically to tell you that. I found it really interesting the way ChatGPT was able to recognize which of my content was performing better and why that might be. For example, I had kind of forgot how powerful carousel content can be, especially if you are an artist or an illustrator or a graphic designer who can make things that are very shareable. My art style, for example, is very kawaii inspired, very cute, and that can be really, really shareable. And if I'm going into an era of trying to make my content more visible, creating more carousels that are things that people might want to reshare on their own stories or to send to someone in DMs is actually going to help with that and help me get like seen by new people who maybe don't follow me already. With ChatGPT, I strategized what kind of content I've already created that might work well as I move into this visibility phase of my content, how often I should be posting, and then other things like how I can boost my own visibility, things like strategy for Instagram stories. The other thing was like utilizing my Instagram broadcast channel, because when we looked at the analytics of that, it was actually quite interesting. And then other things like making sure to share my content outside of just Instagram to kind of reboot that engagement. So the next thing that I thought about was how often during the week I wanted to be posting on Instagram, because obviously the next step after analyzing all of my analytics and looking at what's working and what's not was to think about what I actually wanted to post next. First of all, I figured out how often often in the week I realistically could create content for Instagram. I think a lot of us fall into this trap of thinking that if we want to reboot our Instagram engagement or reboot our Instagram visibility, that the right thing is to start posting every single day and put as much content as we possibly can out there. But for me, I wanted to focus on really creating quality content that reflected more of the kind of content that I want to be doing. Because another side to rebooting my Instagram engagement and thinking about my Instagram visibility is that in the second half of this year, I really do want to work with more brands and build out that side of my creative business. I've had the opportunity to work with a few amazing brands on Instagram and YouTube this year, and I've realized just how much I love those kind of collaborations because there is so much creativity that goes into it, and it's just been a lot of fun and made me realize that, yeah, I actually do want to do that. I do want to be a full-time content creator, and I'm not afraid to say it anymore. I am unapologetically leaning into being a creative influencer, and I am not afraid to show that I am trying anymore, and I wanted that to be reflected in my content. So I thought it would be helpful to show you guys how I translated all that into my Notion content planner for the next 2 weeks at the end of May, start of June, and also share a couple of other things that I'm planning to kind of create and do on Instagram that are different to what I've done before. So let's have a look at my Notion content planner. This is my Notion content dashboard. It's available from my Patreon shop for €3. I will link it in the description under this video. I won't go into much detail about how it's set up in this video because I do have a full video where I break that down. So if you want to see that, I will link it here, and I will also link it in the description under this video. Here is my Notion content planner. As you can see, it's highlighted the 22nd of May because as I am filming this, it is the 22nd of May. So I'm gonna just filter it up here by platform to show Instagram because I wanna show you the Instagram content that I have planned for the next 2 weeks to show you how I am applying what I've learned from ChatGPT and my analytics, as well as my goals to be more visible on Instagram to the actual content that I create. Wednesday, I posted a draw with me reel. My top tip that I always share with small business owners or artist business owners who say that they don't have enough time to create content is don't create content for the sake of creating content. Document what you already do and then afterwards decide what story you want to tell with that content. So last week was a wallpaper Wednesday week on Patreon, and I made sure to document drawing those wallpapers so I could turn that into content. This week I created 3 different posts out of that one wallpaper draw. First one was a carousel where I showed the actual illustrations from the wallpapers. The second one was a reel that was just more like of a GIF that flashed through the different wallpaper designs. And then the third piece was this longer draw with me video that is really like a visibility piece of content. I also have created this template inside. So when I click in here, there's like a full content breakdown. I created a template inside in this Notion template. So every time I want to create a longer type of video or like a video that's about storytelling, I can click to create this template. Let me show you with a blank piece of content. So if I create a new piece of content, I can click on this one here that says Instagram framework template. I also have one for YouTube videos. When I click on this, it populates the page with all of these questions that ChatGPT created for me that I should be thinking about when I am planning my content or planning how to edit my content for the purpose of this visibility phase I'm going into. So for this draw with me video, I was really thinking about shifting into that idea of like bringing people behind the scenes of my art, thinking about brands that I want to work with and how I could position this video to help my ideal client imagine what it's like to work with me by showing my process. I also decided to add a voiceover to this video for 2 reasons. The first reason is that voiceover helps with storytelling. I'm really working on storytelling in my short form content because I love doing it in my longer form content. And the other reason I wanted to use a voiceover in this content is because every time you add voice or some kind of narration to your video and then also enable closed captions on your videos, that means that Instagram has to basically basically read your whole video and listen to every single thing that you say in order to generate the closed captions. But the closed captions then also become metadata for your video that helps Instagram understand what your video is about and therefore understand who might be interested in it. So one thing that I really do want to get in the habit of doing is adding a voiceover to more of my videos, where it's like a day in the life or draw with me, to narrate it a little bit to help like with that connection point as well with my audience. But the other reason for it from a visibility point of view is to help Instagram start to better understand who I am as a creator and who might be interested in my content. I also planned out the caption and the hashtags with ChatGPT before I edited and posted the content, so that I can start again to think about who I want to see this content. But another thing I want to start thinking about ahead of time is those like invitations to action, or those call to actions. Other things that I have planned out for the next 2 weeks, I want to test out a carousel of photographs for a change. I often do carousels of my artwork, but I really do want to start sharing more of behind the scenes of my life as an artist and a creator. I've been seeing a lot of people do them where they like do these weekly or monthly roundup in photographs and they like annotate them and add art. I've also tried that on my broadcast channel and people seem to like it, so I'm going to test that out in a carousel this week. If you are not already following me on Instagram, this is going to be my gentle reminder to head on over to Instagram and follow me so you can let me know what you think of that carousel. Next week, I want to do a spring self-care illustration carousel. I did one that was based around the zodiac signs a couple of weeks ago and people loved it. It engaged people. There was great conversation in the comments, while also making something that's very shareable to help with visibility, and also something that actually tends to engage people, that they want to jump into the comments and talk about their sign and the things I suggested for them. For this one, I'm thinking of doing the Enneagram signs. In the middle of the week, I've put that I'm either going to do another draw with me video or a mini studio vlog. So I already have some ideas of what that's going to be, but I'm not deciding specifically because it all depends on what I document this week that I can repurpose next week, because I'm not creating content for the sake of creating content. Then the last thing that I've put here at the end of the month is like an illustration drop. So just like a classic carousel of all of the different illustrations that I did that month, kind of rounded up into one carousel, something that's really, really shareable with some like meaningful quotes, and then some kind of caption that is a little bit more personal. That is my Notion content plan for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to post all of that content and keep track of the analytics, keep taking screen grabs of the insights for specific posts and sharing them with ChatGPT. And then at the end of June, I'm going to go back to ChatGPT, share all the insights on those, like that 2 weeks set of content to help me make my plan for the start of June. So I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you enjoyed hearing about how I am planning to reboot my Instagram engagement and hopefully reconnect with my audience in new ways. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button. And if you haven't done so already, you can click subscribe to join the growing creative community here on YouTube. You can also head on over to Instagram and hit follow over there as well, so you can actually follow along as I test out all of these strategies. As I said at the start of this video, I plan to make a check-in video probably in the middle of June to share how this trial has been going, what strategies have been working, and whether or not I'm actually seeing an increase in my engagement and reach and growth as well. But if you've got any questions about anything that I've talked about, or there's anything you want to know more about, or you want to share some ideas on how you're planning to reboot your Instagram content, let me know in the comments under this video. I will see you guys in the comments, and I will see you in the next video where we are going to be packing up and moving out of the studio. I already have boxes here in the background ready to go because we're going to be moving to a temporary workspace for a whole month. And of course, I'm going to be bringing you guys along so I can share how I am managing to keep my creative business going while also dealing with a house renovation and having to move out of my own office space. So if you want to follow along for that journey, be sure to click subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.